includes
Nesse vídeo, você vai aprender.
Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we successfully complete our ProFinder project, right? I hope you like it very much. Here we successfully done this work. Now in this video, I want to start a new session. It's about the form validator. So into this session, we'll develop another project and we'll create one of the logging form as a register or the logging. And into this register and logging form area, how can add some of the validation with using the JavaScript. I will show you that things with the live example. So before do that work, I have already complete our this ProFinder project and I have already saved our complete version. Like I have already done this in our JavaScript folder, right? And that is our project. So from to the start, I have started and I have already saved this file. If you go to your exercise folder, into this exercise folder, there is a project 3 and you can see there is a ProFinder done. So whatever the things I have done in here, every code you will get that things from to this position. So that is our start one and that is our done one. Okay. And now I want to create another project I have already shared another folder as a project 4 into the your exercise file. As I told you, after end of this course, I will share this file with you. First of all, I want to set up it. Like if you go to that project 4 and you can see that is one of the folder as a form validation is start. Okay, so from to this position we'll start our total journey and they have the 3 file only. One is the index.html as a script.js and then style.css. Okay, now I want to add this project. Better I copy it and I want to take it in our JavaScript folder. Into the JavaScript area I want to simply paste it. Okay, and now our next work will be I want to take this form validator. I want to take it in our Visual Studio Code editor area. If you want to take it, I hope you already know that will be as a open folder. And in this open folder, that is our project folder as a form validation start. Okay, that is a form validator start. I select this folder. Now you can see it's now successfully load all that file. And into this index.html it is totally empty. Okay, it's now totally empty. So here we'll actually create some of the static register form. And into this register form, as I told you friend, how can add some of the email validation, the phone number validation, website validation, password validation, everything will develop in here. Okay, so that will be our static, that is our view, and every code will write down in our script.js. So right now both of this is totally empty, but in our style.css here I have already write down some of the style. Okay, so here there is one of the JavaScript codes. For the reasons here I don't want to explain all that CSS how that things exactly work. So it's very simple, all the CSS code. You can see there is a white background, so I have already write down this CSS code. Okay, so right now I will share this file with you. So that's all for now. In our next video, first of all we will design one of the form and then we will execute all that form without this JavaScript JS. I hope friend you like it very much and you will learn a lot of the things from to this session. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, we successfully complete our ProFinder project, right? I hope you like it very much. Here we successfully done this work. Now in this video, I want to start a new session. It's about the form validator. So into this session, we'll develop another project and we'll create one of the logging form as a register or the logging. And into this register and logging form area, how can add some of the validation with using the JavaScript. I will show you that things with the live example. So before do that work, I have already complete our this ProFinder project and I have already saved our complete version. Like I have already done this in our JavaScript folder, right? And that is our project. So from to the start, I have started and I have already saved this file. If you go to your exercise folder, into this exercise folder, there is a project 3 and you can see there is a ProFinder done. So whatever the things I have done in here, every code you will get that things from to this position. So that is our start one and that is our done one. Okay. And now I want to create another project I have already shared another folder as a project 4 into your exercise file. As I told you, after end of this course I will share this file with you. First of all, I want to set up it. Like if you go to that project 4, and you can see that is one of the folder as a form validation is start. Okay, so from to this position we'll start our total journey, and they have the 3 file only. One is the index.html, as a script.js, and then style.css. Okay, now I want to add this project. Better I copy it, and I want to take it in our JavaScript folder. Into the JavaScript area I want to simply paste it. Okay, and now our next work will be, I want to take this form validator. I want to take it in our Visual Studio Code editor area. If you want to take it, I hope you already know, that will be as a open folder. And in this open folder, that is our project folder as a form validation start. Okay, that is a form validator start. I select this folder. Now you can see it's now successfully load all that file, and into this index.html there is totally empty. Okay, it's now totally empty. So here we'll actually create some of the static register form, and into this register form, as I told you friend, how can add some of the email validation, the phone number validation, website validation, password validation, everything will develop in here. Okay, so that will be our static, that is our view, and every code will write down in our script.js. So right now both of this is totally empty, but in our style.css, here I have already write down some of the style. Okay, so here there is one of the JavaScript codes. For the reasons here I don't want to explain all that CSS, how that things exactly work. So it's very simple, all the CSS code. You can see there is a white background, so I have already write down this CSS code. Okay, so right now I will share this file with you. So that's all for now. In our next video, first of all we will design one of the form, and then we will execute all that form without this JavaScript JS. I hope friend you like it very much, and you will learn a lot of the things from to this session. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video, here we set up our total all that file for our this project. Like there is one of the index.html, there is a JavaScript.js, and then style CSS, right? First of all, as I told you, that is totally empty. Now I want to start to code in particular that position. If you open it, you can see it's totally empty. Here, first of all, I want to create one of the default HTML tag. Like if you make it as exclamator, and after that, if you click as enter, now you can see it's now generated our default HTML total body structure. That is just, they have some of the title, they have the body, and that is our HTML, right? So into this title area, I want to make it as a form. Okay, form validator. I want to name that as a form validator. And here also we have to do like there is one of the CSS, and also there have one of the script. Both of these we have to take it like into the head, into this head area. Here I want to take one of the link, because I want to link our this CSS, right? So that is into the same page. So for the reasons here, the name is as style. Okay, that is style.css. I simply loaded this style.css, and also there is another script file as a script.js that will be also needed. For the reasons I want to connect it in our index.html area. So into this body, okay, into this body I want to write down as a script. So if you write down as a script, then here I want to close it. So into this, that will be as src. Our src link will be what? That is a name. I name it as a script. Okay, script.js. I simply loaded this script.js in particular that area. Okay friend, I simply loaded our style CSS, and also I loaded our script.js. So I have already added some of the style CSS, right? I have already discussed about that things. You there have some of the body, and then also we have some of the container. There is all the basic code. Now I want to call all the classes, and here I want to create one of the basic form. Okay, if you want to do that work like in our body, into this body area, we have to do this work, right? Now I want to do better. First of all, I want to take one of the div. Okay, take one of the div, and into this div area, I want to put one of the class name. Class. Okay, I want to put that class name. Class name will be right. I want to use it as this container. I copy it, so that will be as a container. Great. And then I want to use one of the h1 tag. That will be the h1 tag. I make it as a form validator. Okay, form validator, and after that I want to pass one of the ID. So I make it as a h3. Okay, I take one of the h3. That will be very easy if you know a little bit the CSS, HTML. So that is very easy on all that process. So into this h3 area, here I want to pass one of the ID. Okay, here I simply pass one of the ID, and for now I name one of the ID name as a message. Okay, all that messages I will actually display in here. So that is our h3, and after that I want to take one of the form. Okay, form. I simply loaded this form and I want to end this form, and into this form area I want to pass one of the ID, and I just name it as a form ID. Okay, that will be as a form. I simply take one of the form ID. Great. And now I want to take one of the input field. Right here we need one of the input field. For the reasons, into the form area I want to take another div. Okay, I take another div, I close this div, and into this div area I want to put another class as a, I have already write down this class as a form group. Okay, that is actually the form group. I want to run out this class name as a form group. Great. And then I want to put on the level. Okay, that will be the level. I want to put on the level. I close this level, and into this level area here I want to pass that as a for. I hope you already know about it. It's very basic. I name that as a name. Okay, our level name will be as a name, and I name it as a full name. So that will be as a full name. Okay, so that is our input field, and into this input field area I want to pass that our input. So that is our input, and into this input area here I want to simply pass one of the ID. Okay, I pass that ID. ID will be our for ID name as a name. Okay, I simply load it. Now that will be our input field. Now I want to copy it, and now if you paste it, and first if I want to check it, click as a save all, and now I want to open with the live server. Right now I close our previous one, and here I want to run out this part. Okay, now with this live server I open it. Now that is perfectly open. Yes, you can see now it's perfect. There is a form validator that have the full name on the input field, so that is our level, and also there is another one as a full name, right? And also they have one of the background. So right now I'm actually using this background, that is one of the SVG. If you go to your CSS, okay, if you go to your style, because I have already loaded that style, and into this style that is our body, right? If you go our style CSS, you can see that is also one of the SVG background, and you can see that is a background image. I am actually using this one. Okay, so that is in our body area. For the reasons it's get one of the background image. Now I want to add all that our field one by one. If you go in our index, okay, into this index there is one div. Better I copy some of the div, because here I want to add that multiple field. Okay, I simply paste it like as a, that will be as a full name, and also I pass that name for as a name and the name. And then I want to take another one as an email address. Okay, email address, and for that I want to name it as a email. Okay, email, and also in our ID I pass one of the ID. So that will be needed. I will discuss about that things later. Right now I simply pass one of the input ID as a email. Okay, and then I want to take that as a phone number, because that will be one of the registration form, and for education purpose I'm actually using all that field as a phone number. And for the phone number I want to change it as a phone. Okay, and that will be as a for phone, and then ID I pass as a phone. Great. And then also I want to take another one as a website URL. Okay, website URL I want to make it as a only website. Okay, sorry, I make it as a website, and then in our ID I pass the same name as a website. And then I want to pass as a password. Okay, that will be as a password, and then for the password I make it as a password 1. Okay, password 1, and that will be ID as a password 1. Another will be as a confirm password. Okay, confirm password. And for the confirm password I want to pass as a password 2. Okay, that will be as a password 2, and I make it as a password 2. Great. I think that will be enough, and that will be enough as a full name, email address, phone number, website, password, and then password, confirm password. Now click as a save all. Now go to our front end. Now click as a refresh. You can see there is a full name, email address, phone number, website URL, password, and then confirm password. So right now also we have to add another button for the submit, right, or the register or logging, whatever you choose. Now I want to do after that confirm password, because that is one of the registration form, all that field, right? For the logging, that should be only 2. Right now I want to make one of the button. Okay, here I want to take one of the button. So that will be as a button. I want to close this button, and into this button area I want to pass one of the type. Button type will be as a submit type. Okay, so I make it as a submit, and our button name will be as a register. Okay, I make it as a register. Great. And now if you click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, you can see there is also another button as a register. Great. So friend, in this video we successfully designed one of the simple form, right? So that is all that our form, and that is all that our form field. So now step by step I want to add some of the validation. Okay, how can do that work? I will show you that things with a live example. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we successfully designed our form, and that is all that our form input field. Okay, now in this video I want to add some of the attribute in our all that input field. Like they have the different type of attribute as a text attribute, email attribute, tail attribute. Okay, so step by step I want to add every attribute, and with this we'll start to add our all that validation. You can see there is a spelling mistake. So here that will be as a validator. Okay, TOR. So I make it as a validator. Great. And now first of all, that is one of the name. Okay, for the name I want to add another attribute. Here if you want to add that attribute, that will be the type. Okay, type, that means that is one of the text type, right? Because I only want to write down one of the name, so for the reasons that will be as a text type. Great. And for the email, there is also another attribute as a email type, so I make it as a type, and for the email that will be as a email. So our this input field attribute will be as email. Automatically that will be checked that is email or not. Okay, so that is our attribute as email. And for the phone number I want to add another type. Our type for the phone, that will be as a tele. Okay, that means a tail. There is a tail. I want to add this attribute as a tail. So now that will be check that is phone number or not. Here if you want to pass any text, then that will be display some of the validation. And then there is a website URL. For the website I want to use another one, that is our type. Our type will be for the website, that is one of the URL. Okay, that is our URL attribute, because that is one of the website URL. So here you have to put one of the valid URL. So for the reasons with this type, it should be get this validation. And for the password, here I don't want to show all that password right now. If you go and if you write down anything, you can see it's not display in here. So now that password field not should be display. For the reasons here, there is another attribute as a password attribute. I want to use it as a type. Okay, type will be as a password. I use that as a password. Great. And for the confirm password, that will be another password field. For the reasons here, I want to add the type will be as a password. I simply added this password. Great. And now I want to add another attribute. Here I want to add another attribute in our input area, that will be as a name attribute. Okay, I make it as a name. So name attribute actually very much helpful. With this we will get that specific this input field all that value. Okay friend, I repeat it again. With this name attribute, we will able to get our this input field all that value. And also that is very much helpful, like when you want to get this specific this input data, then you can before we use that as a get element by ID or the query selector, right? Here you don't need to use it. Only into the query selector we'll select our this ID, and then we'll get that things by this name. Here we don't need to add multiple query selector for get a specific this input value data. Okay, so that is very much helpful. For the reasons here, right now I want to add another attribute as a name, and for the name I want to use it as a name. Okay, I name it name. Whatever the name actually choose right now, I want to make it as a name. Great. And also I want to use that name attribute for our email, so that will be as a name. And name I make it as a for this field as email. Okay, I make it as email, and then that will be another one, that is a phone. I make it as another name attribute will be as a phone. Okay, I name it as a phone, and then that will be as a website. I want to make this name I make it as a website. Okay, that is a website. And then another one as a password. So for the password I want to put that name I make it as a password. That will be as a password. And the confirm password, here I want to put another attribute name as a confirm password. Okay, confirm password. So I name that as a confirm password. Great. Now I want to add another attribute. I want to add another attribute for the placeholder. Placeholder means it will be give you to your user some of the hints, what type of input field and what exactly that example for this input field. Like I show you here, I want to add another one as a placeholder. placeholder. Okay, and with this placeholder, if you make it as a your name, I make it as a your name. Okay, your name. So now that should be displayed as a your name in our input field area. If you now click as a save all, now if you go click as a refresh, now you can see it's now displayed as your name. So in particular, that means here it's pass on the hints to the user. That means full name means here you have to add that your name. Okay, and also I want to do the same things for our email address, the phone number. They have some of the example. I want to add it. Like if you want to add, that will be another placeholder. I want to name it as a place. Okay, placeholder. And for the email, I want to use it as an example. Okay, example @gmail.com or mail.com, whatever you choose. So user have to put this type of one of the valid email. Okay, and then for the phone, here I want to use another placeholder. Okay, placeholder, another placeholder. Like as I want to add some of the validation with different type of one of the format. For the phone number, user have to be input this type of one of the input field. Like I make it as a 11 digit. For the first time, that will be as a 5 digit, and then a dash, and then the 6 digit. Okay, so that will be our format for adding that phone number. With this we'll actually add some of the validation. Great. And for the website, I want to use another placeholder. Okay, another placeholder I want to use for the website as a Google. Okay, this type of one of the things. I copy it and then I want to paste it. So that will be our example here. User have to add that HTTP and then our total domain name. Great. And for the password, okay, for the password I want to do, so that will be another placeholder. So that is a placeholder. And for the password I want to do, a user must have to be input that 8 character. Okay, so for the reasons here I put some of the hints as a create a password, that will be minimum. Okay, I want to make it as a minimum 8 character. 8 character. That means user must have to be put that 8 characters password, and then there is our another one as a confirm password. Here I want to add another placeholder. Okay, there is another placeholder, and for the confirm password I want to do, that will be our same as password. So I make it as a confirm password. Okay, confirm password. So now that will be enough. And now if you click as a save all, and now that all that hints should be displayed in here. Now click as a refresh. Yes, you can see there is a name, example email address. When you write down anything, that will be gone. Okay, and then there is a phone number, the website URL, the password, and create password minimum 8 characters. So that is one of the hints, and also there is a confirm password. Great. Now I want to add another attribute for the required. Every field I want to make it as a required. Okay, that means if this field is empty, then that will be not executed. If you want to add this attribute in our input field area, here I want to add that another attribute as a required. Okay, required, you can see. So that is a required. When you write down as a required, then that means that is actually required. If you click as a save all, and now if you go, and now if you refresh this page, and if you make it as empty, click as a register. Now you can see it's now showing one of the message as a default message, please fill out of this field. So that is default one. Laterally we'll actually add a lot of the things in here. That is here for the phone number, we'll add some of the regular expression. With this regular expression, we'll actually add some of the validation for the website. Like first time I want to make every field as a required. That is our email field, that is our phone field, and then that is our website, and then there is a password. I make it as a required, and then confirm password also I want to make it as a required. And now if you click as a save all, and now if you go click as a refresh, now our all that field is required. If you now click, you can see it's perfectly get our first one. I put some of the name, click as a register, you can see it's also get some of the another validation, and also if there is one of the type I have already added on the email tab, you can see it's now show one of the message as a please include @. That means here we have to add this type of one of the things, because that will be look like as a one of the email address. And then the phone number, you can see there's also get that required for the phone number. Here I want to add some of the phone number in here. And now there's a website. So for the website, if you add that website, I have already added some of the hints. And if you make it as a like I remove that HTTP, Now if you click the register, now you can see it's also display as a please enter a URL. So that is by default get this validation. Later we'll actually customize all that validation, but that is all the default one. Okay, and then that will be as a password, and you can see there is a password, and also it's getting a previous one, but I copied and then I paste it, click the register. Now you can see there's this field is also as a required. Great, that means here all that field here you have to fill up, and after that then that will you are able to register this user. Okay, so now in our next video step by step we'll add all that our custom validation. I hope you like it very much. So right now in this video I have added some of the attribute as a type, name, placeholder, and then required. Okay friend, I hope every part is very much clear to you. Hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we successfully add some of the attribute, and also it's display all the default validation message, right? Now from to this video I want to make this validation little bit interactive. If you want to do that work, like I want to add another attribute. If you go to our input field for the full name, like that is our full name, right? Here I have already added some of the attribute as a type, name, placeholder, required, and also if you want to add another one, like there is another one as a mean length. Okay, if you make it as a mean, I can see there is a mean length. So with this mean length, that will be actually work for how many minimum character you have to insert. So right now I make it as a 3. That means this user for this input field, if you want to add this input data, this user must have to be input as a 3 character. Okay, and also there is another one as a maximum, that is the max length. That this max length is means I make it as 100. Okay, right now this user for this input field maximum length will be supported as 100. Like if you now want to check it, if you now click as a save all, so here I make that a minimum length will be as a 3, right? If you now go click as a refresh, and now want to make it only as a, and now if you click as a register, now you can see it's now show one of the default messages as a please length this text as a 3 character minimum. Okay, automatically now it's getting this type of one of the validation. I hope it's very much clear to you. So if you want to add that some of the style, like when that will be not appropriate, if there have any issues, then that will be display as a red rather than that will be display as a green. Like right now that is not validate, right? You can see it's not appropriate. For the reasons it's already display some of the error. That means when it should be as a 3 character, I make it as a 3. Right now there is a 3 character. Now that should be okay. Click as a register. Yes, you can see now our this form is successfully done. Now that is another one is started for the validation, our email address. Okay, now I want to add some of the style. If you want to add that style, go to your style, that is style.css, and into this style.css after this. Okay, after this I want to add another style class. So that will be for the input, right? So that will be the input, and input I want to add that as a validate. Okay, that is input valid. That means when this input field will be as a valid, then I want to add some of the border. Okay, I want to add that border, and for the border I want to make it as a 1 pixel. Okay, that will be as a 1 pixel solid. Okay, 1 pixel solid, and then that will be as a green. Okay, I make it as a green. Okay, and also when that will be as a invalid. Okay, then what exactly it should be do for the input field, and then if you make it as invalid, okay, invalid, that is invalid. When that will be as invalid, I want to do the same things. I want to add some of the border as a 1 pixel, that will be as a 1 pixel, and then I make it as a solid, and then that will be as a red. Okay, then I want to make it as a red. Great. Now that will be very interactive. If you now click as a save all, and right now I want to refresh it again, and you can see I have already added all that field as a required. For the reasons it's automatically become as a red. And if you make it as a 1 character, which is because here I have already added some of the minimum length, and that will be as a 3. When that will be as a 2, okay, I make it as a 2, I make it as a 2 and then 3. Yes, you can see when that will appropriate. Okay, when all that validation is successfully done, then it's become automatically as a green. Okay, here I have already put this type of one of the CSS class as input. When it will be as a valid, then that will be as a green, rather than input invalid, then that will be as a red. Right now it's valid. For the reasons you can see it's now become green. And if you put some of the email address in here @gmail.com, and you can see it's now become changed. That means right now that is valid. Okay friend, I hope it's very much clear to you. Now that is our phone number. So into this phone number here, I have already added one of the pattern, right? Here we have to flow one of the pattern. If you want to do that work, like if you go to our input field into this index, and that is actually our phone number. You can see for the phone number, I have already added one of the pattern. For the first time, that will be as a 5 character, and then that will be as a dash, and then that will be as a 6 character, right? For the reasons here, I want to add another attribute. I want to add another attribute as a pattern. Okay, pattern. So that is a pattern attribute. So into this pattern attribute, there have the multiple validation you can actually add. If you search into the Google as a input pattern, you will get lot of the pattern code. So right now if you want to add that attribute, then that will be here. That is our $sign. Okay, that is in particular that area. I want to do until that will be started from the 0 to 9. Okay, I make it as a 0 to 9, and after that our first area that should be displayed as a 5 character, right? I want to add that as a 5. So here with this curly bracket, and into this curly bracket I want to make it as a 5. Okay, better I want to make it into another line. Okay, here I want to do that work. So that is our, it should be started from the 0 to 9, and I want to make it our first as a 5. Great. And after that will be as a dash, right? So I make it as a dash, and then also our 6, so I make it again as a 0 to 9. That will be as a 0 to 9, and then for the next time that will be as a how many, that will be as a 6. So I make it as a another with the curly bracket as a 6 character. Okay, so that is the one of the regular expression I simply added for make this pattern for our phone number pattern. Now if you want to check it, click as a save all. And now if you go click as right now I have better refresh it. Okay, refresh it, and I put some of the name, which is totally fine. I put that email address, which is totally fine. Okay, here I put some of the email address, and you can see it's become now green. And after that there is a phone number. Here if you put this type of one of the phone, you can see it's not valid because here I have already added one of the pattern. So our first will be as a 5. So I make it as a 1 2 3 4 5. So now that is a 5, and then that will be as a dash, and after that will be as a 6, right? I make it as a 6. You can see when that will be get as a 6 character, when after that is a dash, and then when it will get as a 5 character, then our this validation is become green. That means that is approved. Okay, I hope it's very much clear to you. And then that the website, so website is totally fine. Okay, here we don't need to add any attribute in here, and then there is a password. So for the password, that is also because here I have already added some of the validation, that is minimum 8 character, right? If you go to that Google, you will get, as I told you will get everything into the Google. So right now I'm going to write down as a regular, okay, regular expression for password. So if you write down with this as a regular expression for password, then you will get this type of one of the resources. You can see into the Stack Lover that they have already 2013, or someone actually put this type of one of the question. If you open it, so right now from here you can see there is the same things. There is a range for password must contain at least 8 characters, at least 1 number, and both there is a both lower and upper letter and a special character. So that is all that validation. Okay, you can see that is 8 years ago, and now from to this position I want to take it. Okay, I want to copy simply that things from here. If you go like that is actually here, there is a minimum 8 character, at last 1 upper letter, 1 lowercase letter, 1 number, and a special character. Okay, you can see that is the same things. Better right now I copy it. I simply copy it, and now I want to add this pattern. I want to add this pattern in our password. Okay, into this password here I want to make it as a pattern. Okay, so our pattern will be this one, so which I have already copied. Now I want to paste it. Great, so which is totally fine. So into this pattern, that is very much easy one of the pattern actually. Here with this it will be check all the tower is there have in, that means in our input field area, is there have any lowercase or not, this uppercase or not, is there have any digit it or not. Okay, if with this it will be check, that means if there have any numeric digit or not. Okay, and also it will be check is there have any symbol or not. Okay, this type of one of the symbol or not, and then there is the 8. You can see I have already added that minimum 8 character will be supported. For this here you can see it's now displayed display as a 8. That means minimum user must have to be add as a 8 digit. I hope you get some of the idea. Is very easy. The uppercase, there is a lowercase, there is a uppercase. It should be check the digit, it should be check that symbol, and then its minimum, that will be the 8. So simple things that you have to do. And so that is one of the pattern for the password. So now if you want to check it, and also here if you want to add that any type of another custom a special character, you can also add it. Okay, it's totally fine. That is totally customizable. Now I'm going to check it. Now go to our form, now refresh it, and here I put some of the name, I put that email address, put some of the number. Okay, there is a phone number. Oh, sorry, there is a phone number. There is some of the validation, right? I want to add that there will be a 5 and then the dash, and then that will be another 6. Now that is, you can see when that will be a 7, that will be also become as a rate, so that will be as a 6. So right now which is totally fine. Then I make it as a some of the URL and then the password. So for the password I want to do here, that will be as 8, right? That means if you have to do, you have to add that minimum 8. You can see that is not executed. So here also you have to do that will be one of the uppercase, that is one of the lowercase, and also there should be some of the symbol, right? That should be some of the special character, and that will be as a length as 8. So I want to better put some of the hints to the user. Okay, what exactly the type it should be. Like I make it as a title. Like I put on the title, and into this title area I want to write down as a please include at last one. Okay, at last one uppercase character, and then one lower case character, and then one digit, and one special character. So that will be our total hints. Okay, into this password area, that should be one uppercase character, that should be one lowercase character, one digit. Okay, that should be one digit, and then that will be one of the special character. So it means it should be like what? It should be like I make it as a Aryan. Okay, I make that Aryan as a and then Aryan, and then I want to add that as a at the rate. So also that will be one of the numbers. So I make it as a 8. Okay, and then at the rate. And then we have to add one of the special character. I have already added that special character, right? And that will be as 8 digit. That means I have added one of the uppercase, which is totally fine, and I have added some of the lowercase. So that is all lowercase. I have added one of the digit. So that is one of the digit. All right, that is 8, one of the digit, and one special character. So right now I use that as at the rate. So as I told you, if you want to here that have already at the rate, if you want to add another custom special character, you can add it. Now if you use this password, now that should be okay. If you now placed it, yes, you can see it's now become green. Okay, it's now totally become green. I hope, friend, it's very much clear to you. So now if you also want to check it, now I want to display this title. I save all, clear the refresh, put that name, put that email address, put some of the number. Why there is actually number I have actually used, that is a 222, right? So that will be the 5, and then I want to make it as a 5556 time, which is totally fine. That is a website, and then password, right? And now if you put any appropriate some of the password, click as a register. Now you see our title is now become display as a please include at last one uppercase, one lowercase character, one digit, everything. Great. So here if you put it appropriate, then that will be green, and that is or the confirm password. So friend, here we successfully add all that our attributes, and from to the next video we'll work for in our this is JavaScript area. Okay, with this we'll actually custom all that our validation. How can do that work? In our next video I will show you that things with a live example. Hello friend, welcome back. In all that previous video we work in our CSS and also you work in our HTML, right? I have already added some of the validation. Now for this project, two things I want to complete. Like if there have any error, I want to display some of the custom message. Okay, here it should be display some of the custom message, and also it should be check our password and then confirm password is the same or not. So that is the main two things I want to complete. For doing this, if you there is another validation as a constraint validation API. If you search into the Google as a constraint validation API, so that is one of the resources, and into this resources here they have some of the method. Like you can see, there is one of the method as a check validity method. So with this, it will be check our form is validate or not. So when this form will be as invalid, then that will be returned as a false, and when that will be as a valid, then that will be returned as a true. Okay, so that is one of the method as a check validity method. And also there is another method as a set custom validity message. Okay, so here that will be also needed. So right now I want to do first of all work in our this check validity. If you click it, now you can see it's now show that is one of the HTML object element. Okay, first of all it should be load one of the HTML object element, and then that is our method. So now let's do that work. For doing this, now I want to work in our script, that means our script.js. Okay, so into this script.js, first of all I want to take our form. Okay, if you go into this form area, I have already passed one of the ID. So first of all I want to get this ID. So if you want to get this ID, what exactly you have to do? Here we have to get it by the query selector, right? Now in our script, I want to write down this code. That will be, I take one of the constant variable. Okay, that is a constant, and I just name it as a form. Constant variable as a form. Okay, and then that will be as a document. Okay, document, and then the query selector. So that is a query selector. So with this query selector, I want to take our ID, right? I hope you already remember that part. Our ID name, our ID is here. I name it as a form. So when you use that as an ID, then that will be obviously one of the hash, right? Hash, and then your ID name. And after that, we have to add one of the event listener, right? What a type of event is that? If you go to that is our form, and in our register, into the register I type will be as a submit, right? Now I want to take it. So if you want to take it, then that will be as a form, right? So that is in our form area. Into this form, that is I want to add on the add event listener, and event listener, first of all, that will be as a type, right? So that will be our submit type. I simply added that submit type, and then I want to add on the functional array, like that will be as a array function. I simply loaded this array function. Okay, and into this array function area, I want to pass one of the event as a e event object. Okay, I simply pass it. Great. And also when you submit this register page, I don't want to refresh this page. That means all that element will be executed. So here I want to make as a event. There is a prevent default. Remember, that is our this event will be as a prevent. That is a prevent default. I simply loaded this function in here. Okay, and also I want to declare that a validate form, that will be the validate form. I name that as a validate form. So that is our validate form. Great, because here we have to also check our form is valid or not. Now we have to create this method, right? Here I want to create this method. Better I want to create it in here. Okay, I want to create that will be as a function, and then our method name as a validate form method. Okay, and into this validate form method area, here for the first time I want to make it as a false, because here that will be obviously as a false. So I take one of the variable and I just name it as a is valid. Okay, that is one of the variable name, whatever the name actually choose. For the first time I make it as a false. Okay, friend, and now I want to access our this method. Okay, that is a method, as I told you, as a check validity. So for the first time I make it as a false. So now if you want to access this check validity, I better copy it, and now here I want to do that is valid. I want to make it this, that will be into the form, right? And this is valid, I want to make this as a form. Okay, that is a form, and this form I want to access with this method as a check validity method. Okay, and now if you want to check it with the console log, okay, console, and with the console log area, here I want to check our this is valid. Okay, if you want to check it, so that is our is valid. But here one things, like if you click as a save all, and if you go and then if you refresh it, and right now all that field is required, and if you click as a register, you can see it's already get one of the validation message, but that is one of the HTML validation message, right? There is a default one of the HTML validation message. So first of all we have to off it. Okay, that means we have to stop it. Then if you want to do that work, then in our input there index HTML, and that is our form, right? So that is actually our form. Here I want to add it as a no validate. Okay, that is a no validate. You can see there is a no validate. Now that it will be not display our HTML validation. Now we want to do and to display our JavaScript validation. Here I have already added another field. Remember, as h3 field, as I pass one of the ID as a message, right? So now first of all I want to take our this ID in our script into this script area. That will be, I take on the constant variable. Okay, I take on the constant variable and I just name it as a message, whatever the name actually choose, and then the document and then the query selector, and then here I want to get this ID. So if you want to get this ID, that will be as a hash, and then our ID name as a message, right? Now I want to add this message. Great. Here we have already get our specific ID with the query selector. Now I want to do also, if you want to check it what exactly the data is displayed, because I have already added that console log as invalid, right? What exactly that our invalid data, like I click as a save all. Now if you go, because I have already make it what? I have already make that as a no validate. So right now our HTML validation will be not display. If you now click as a refresh, and now if you make all that field is required, so you can see it's become already red. If you now click as a register, and now you can see it's not display our HTML all the data. Now if you go to that inspect, that means HTML validation is not visible, but into the console area I have already passed. You can see it's now perfectly display as a false. Okay, here I have already passed it as is valid as a check validity. It should be check all that field is valid or not. So right now our is valid result as a false. Okay, that means that is actually false. It's now perfectly display. Great. So now with this I want to do and to add another condition, and with this condition I want to actually display. It is very easy, all that process. Like here there is a console log. Okay, into this console log I want to do, after that I want to add another if condition. Okay, I place one of the if condition, and into this if condition area here I want to do when that will be as a not is valid. Okay, not is valid, that means when that will be as a not is valid, then I want to do and to display one of the message. Okay, so now I have already take that our ID, and I take that things with this variable, and now with this message I want to make one of the text content type. Okay, that is a text content. I want to display some of the text content as a please. Okay, please fill out all fields. So this type of the message that will be displayed. And also I want to add one of the color. So if you want to use that color, that will be as a message, and then the style. Okay, style I want to use that style as a color. So color I want to make it as a red. Okay, red. Now that should be display this validation. If you now click as a save all, and now our this message should be display. I have already take it with the query selector in our index. So before this form, that is should be display in here. Now if you go click as a refresh, right now all that our field is empty. Click as a register. Yes, you can see it's now successfully display as a please fill out all fields. So that is our custom message is now successfully display. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. So right now if you want to add different type of validation, you can actually add all that our HTML validation in here with the JavaScript. Okay, hello friend, welcome back. In our previous video here we are able to successfully display the custom message from our JavaScript, right? Now in this video, first of all I want to complete our password and the confirm password validation. Like whatever the things you will pass in here, that means our password and the confirm password should be the same. Right here we have to match both of this. If you want to match it, first of all we have to get all that our ID. If you go to our index.html and here for the password, so that is our password field and that is our confirm password field, right? And here also I pass one of the input field ID as a password one, and also there is another one as a password 2. So first of all I want to do and to get both of this. If you want to get it, then our process will be same. I want to better take another variable with the constant. I make it as a password 1, and then I want to take with this query selector, there is a documents and then the query, there is a query selector, and with this query selector I want to add that our ID, right? That is our hash, and I just name it as a password 1, and then that will be as a password 2. So I simply take that as a password 1, and also I want to do the same things with the constant. I take another as a password, okay, password 2, and then that will be as a document, and then the query selector, and then that will be another ID. I make it as a hash password 2, right? That will be as a password 2. Great. I simply take both of these. Okay, and here I have already put one of the condition. When that will be invalid, then that will be display this message. But when that will be successfully done, that means when all that our field is valid, else. Okay, into this else area here, then that will be checked. Here I want to add this condition better. First of all, I want to take one of the make it as a false. Okay, so I take one of the variable and I just name it as a password match. Okay, password match. So this type of the variable, and for the first time I want to make it as a false. So right now I want to add on the validation. Okay, here else, that means when that will be as a successfully submit, I want to do our input, that is a password input field, right? There is in password input field value will be matched with our confirm password input field value. Okay, so I want to put another if condition in here, that is a if condition, and into this if condition area here I want to do, and that will be, I have already get all that our data with this query selector as a password 1, right? So that is a password 1, and then there is a value, right? That is a value. Password 1 value, when that will be matched with our password 2 value. Okay, that is a password 2 value. When that will be matched, I want to do, for the first time I make it as a false, right? I hope friend you understand it is very easy. For the first time I make this variable value as a false. Right now when that will be as a true, that means our password on value will be equal. Okay, when that will be matched with our password 2 value, then I want to do our password match. This will be as a true. Okay, true. Simple work. I make it as a true. Great. And else, okay, else it will be as our password match will be as a false. Okay, I make it as a false. And now I want to do, before I have already add one of the CSS, when that will be as invalid, then that will be as a red. When it will be as a valid, then that will be as a green, right? Here before I have done this work in our style CSS with our, that is one of the CSS, right? With this input valid, then that will be as a green. When it will be as invalid, then that will be as a red. So now I want to make that things from our script. Okay, so into this script area here, I want to do like when that will be as a false. Okay, then that will be, I want to make it as a red. Okay, here from to the JavaScript I want to do that work. So if you want to do it, then that will be as a message. Okay, there is a message because I have already loaded our message portion in here. You can see there is a message. So now with this message I want to add another text content. Okay, there is a text content. Which content that will be display? That will be display as a make. Okay, make sure password match. So then that will be display this type of one of the text. Okay, and I want to do onto our message color. I want to set that message and message style color, message style color. I want to make it as a red. Okay, that will be as a red. Great. Here I simply loaded, and also when that will be as a red means our two of this, that is our two of this input field as a password 1 and there is a password 2. Two of this input field area here I want to make this border color will be as a red. Okay, so for the reasons here I want to add another things, that is our field name as a password 1. Okay, password 1 and password 1. Here I want to use that style and then that will be as a border color. Okay, border color I want to make it as a red. I hope you understand it. That is our border color will be red for the password input field, and also I want to do the same things for the password 2. Okay, I copy it, paste it, that will be as the password 2. That means when that will be as a false. Okay, when it will be as a false, then our two of these input field border color will be as a red. Okay, then both of these will be red, and when that will be as a true, that means when that will be successfully matched, then I want to do and to make both of these that will be as a green. Okay, that will be as a green, and also here I make it as a green. Okay, I hope every part is very much clear to you. So now let's check this out. If you now click as a save all, and now if you go right now, we don't need this. I make it as clean, click as a refresh. Like here I put on the name, which is totally fine. I put on the email address, I put on the phone number. Okay, and there is a 5, and then the dashboard, and then the 6, and then I put on the email website address, and there is a password. And for the password, they have also one of the things I have already added, some of the validation, right? That should be one of the uppercase. I make again as Aryan and @ okay, Aryan 8 @ or 9 @ whatever you choose. I make it as a 9 @ okay. So now that will be our password. So I copy it, and now here I paste it. Now you can see it's valid, and that is will be another one. Here that will be not match, right? Here I pass another password. Now if you click the register, yes, you can see it's not perfect. Now it's displayed as a make sure password match, and you can see both of these is now become red. So that is the things I have done in here. When that will be as a false, that means our password match will be as a false, our password input field will be red, and password to input field will be red. Now you can see both of this is become red. And when that will be as a match, okay, that means both of these I match it, like I use this password, I copy it, or right now I cut it, and now I'm going to paste it, and that is both of this is match. Now click on the register. Yes, you can see now both of these become green. Here I have already done this job. That means in our script, when that will be as a true, that means when our password value and then password to value will be matched, then that will be as a green, and also password to field will be as a green. And you can see it's now successfully green. Okay, friend. So now I want to do when our total form will be successfully submitted. Here I want to show some of the successful message. Okay, so if you want to do that work, like that is our else, and after this, okay, after this I want to add another if condition. Okay, after this I want to add another if condition, that is our if, and into this if area here first time I want to do our I have already make it as is valid, right? That is valid. So I make it as is valid. So for the first time I make this is valid as a false, right? So now that will be is valid when that will be as a perfectly valid. Okay, and I want to use it as a and our password should be also match, right? That means here there is a password. For the password match, I make it as a password match, right? So when both of these will be as a perfect, after that I want to display one of the message. Okay, that is a message, and then the here that will be the text contain, and in this text contain area I want to display as a successfully register, or register successfully, successfully, this type of the message that will be displayed. And also our message color I want to say that will be the style, and then our style color, okay, color I want to do and to use it as a green. So great. And also here one things like our that is all that our validate form, and when that will be password will be not match, okay, here it will be not executed. For the reasons I want to do from here I want to pass that as a return. I want to return it in here. Okay, I want to return it here because of all if there have any issues, this will be executed, and after that when both of this will be done, then that will be display or this success message. Okay, then that will be displayed this success message. That is into the same position, right? That is in our same area. For the reasons better I want to cut it. Here I want to add this form in particular after that. Okay, after that if here I have actually added this condition, right? After this I want to do and to paste it. Okay, so then that will be displayed in here. So here I simply returned it. So now that is into the same condition area, that means in our that is one of the method. So into this method area now I simply declare it. Okay, and that is our submit. Great. Now that should be work. Now click as a save all, and now if you go, now I refresh it, and now I pass one of the name, I pass one of the email address. Okay, that is email address. I pass that phone number. Okay, I pass the dash and then 6. Perfect. I pass one of the website address, and password I make this password again here as a Aryan. Okay, Aryan, and then 1 @. So this type of another password I copy it or cut it, and now I make it as a perfect. That is a confirm password. Now click the register. Yes, you can see it's now successfully displayed as a register successfully. Okay, how much easily we done this work. I hope friend it's very much clear to you. So friend, I hope you like it very much. Here we successfully complete one of the validation project. So if you have any issues, if you have any questions, just let me know about it. I am here to help you as much as I can. But I will recommend it to you, code with me, and also you have to practice, you have to understand it. So step by step we'll go more deep. I hope you like it very much.